In October 2025, a seemingly ordinary disturbance in the Caribbean Sea began to draw the attention of meteorologists. What started as a faint swirl of clouds over the warm turquoise waters would soon become one of the most powerful storms in recorded history, Hurricane Melissa. At first, it was just a cluster of thunderstorms, drifting quietly across the sea, but as the days passed, the system fed hungrily on record-breaking ocean temperatures, transforming rapidly. The atmosphere seemed to pulse with energy, and the clouds thickened, swirling into a massive, organized storm. Within just a few days, Melissa evolved into a textbook hurricane. Its eye, perfectly round and eerily calm, was visible from space. A signature of only the most intense storms. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station captured breathtaking images of the storm's symmetry, marveling at its scale. Meteorologists across the globe watched in disbelief as Melissa intensified at a pace rarely seen before. The storm's pressure dropped rapidly, and wind speeds soared, outpacing even the most aggressive computer models. Experts scrambled to update forecasts, realizing that Melissa was rewriting the rules of hurricane development. News outlets quickly picked up the story. The name Melissa began to dominate headlines, spreading a mix of fear and awe throughout the region. For many, the storm became a symbol of nature's unpredictable power. From above, Melissa was mesmerizing, a perfect spiral of clouds, bands wrapping tightly around its core. The beauty of its structure belied the danger it carried, as the storm's outer bands stretched for hundreds of miles. Deep within the storm, the eye wall raged with violent winds, intensifying at a rate meteorologists had rarely witnessed. The roar of the wind was deafening, and the pressure inside the eye dropped to record lows. Melissa underwent what experts call explosive intensification. In less than 24 hours, it leapt from a Category 3 to a Category 5 hurricane, its winds accelerating with terrifying speed. Ocean waves grew monstrous, whipped into a frenzy by the storm's relentless force. The National Hurricane Center issued urgent warnings, their voices grave as they described a storm pushing the very limits of the Saffir-Simpson scale. Emergency alerts flashed across screens, urging communities to prepare for the worst. Satellite images revealed a storm of almost unnatural symmetry, a pinwheel of clouds spinning with mathematical precision. But beneath this beauty, the ocean churned violently, and the threat of devastation loomed ever closer to land. Melissa didn't stop at Category 5. It continued to strengthen, defying expectations and breaking records. News anchors struggled to find words for a storm that seemed to surpass every benchmark. Its winds reached nearly unimaginable speeds, tearing through the atmosphere with a force that bent trees and toppled power lines long before landfall. Debris filled the air, carried miles by the relentless gusts. In the months that followed, scientists pored over the data. Their analysis confirmed what many had feared. Melissa's sustained winds reached an astonishing 190 miles per hour, tying the record for the strongest Atlantic hurricane by wind speed. This matched the legendary Hurricane Allen from 1980, a storm long considered the gold standard for Atlantic hurricane intensity. Now, Melissa stood shoulder to shoulder with history's most powerful storms. The scientific community was stunned. Meteorologists from around the world gathered virtually, sharing data and theories, trying to understand how Melissa had grown so quickly and so strong. Newsrooms buzzed with updates as the world watched the storm's every move. As Melissa approached the coastline, its massive size and power became undeniable. Residents scrambled to board up homes and secure belongings, bracing for a storm unlike any they had ever faced. The sense of urgency was palpable. Across the region, families huddled together, glued to weather updates. Streets emptied as the sky darkened, the calm before the storm settling over towns and cities in Melissa's path. The world held its breath as Hurricane Melissa churned toward land. A new chapter in hurricane history was about to be written, one defined by the raw, awe-inspiring power of nature and the resilience of those who stood in its way. Measuring a hurricane's true strength isn't easy, especially when you're dealing with the most violent storms on Earth. The sheer force of a major hurricane can rip apart buildings, uproot trees, and scatter debris for miles. But when it comes to capturing the actual wind speeds inside the heart of the storm, the challenge becomes even greater. No weather vane survives a Category 5. Traditional ground-based instruments are simply no match for the chaos unleashed by these monster storms. They're often destroyed or rendered useless long before the hurricane reaches its peak intensity, leaving scientists with only fragments of data and plenty of unanswered questions. Enter the hurricane hunters, brave crews who fly directly into the storm's core. These pilots and scientists risk their lives piloting heavily reinforced aircraft straight into the most dangerous part of the hurricane, where the winds are strongest and the turbulence is relentless. Their missions are as perilous as they are essential. Using specialized aircraft, they deploy dropsondes, sensor-packed tubes that measure wind, pressure, temperature, and humidity as they fall through the hurricane. Each dropsonde transmits a stream of real-time data, painting a detailed picture of the storm's inner workings. This technology allows scientists to peer into the very heart of the tempest, gathering information that would be impossible to collect from the ground. During a flight into Hurricane Melissa, a dropsonde recorded a wind gust of 252 mph, the highest ever measured inside a hurricane. The aircraft was battered by turbulence, and the crew had to maintain absolute focus as the instruments registered numbers never seen before. For a brief moment, the team realized they were witnessing history in the making. This momentary burst, confirmed by the National Center for Atmospheric Research, set a new world record. Scientists pored over the data, double-checking every reading to ensure its accuracy. The confirmation sent shockwaves through the meteorological community, highlighting just how extreme these storms can become. The data revealed the raw power inside Melissa's core, far beyond what any structure could withstand. The eye wall, where the most intense winds rage, is a place of unimaginable force, one that only technology and human courage can truly explore. Combined with satellite and aircraft measurements, this allowed the National Hurricane Center to officially upgrade Melissa's sustained winds to 190 mm. Analysts worked around the clock, comparing data from multiple sources to ensure the most accurate assessment possible. This upgrade wasn't just a number, it was a testament to the power of modern science and teamwork. Sustained winds are averaged over a minute, different from a single gust. While a gust is a sudden brief spike in wind speed, sustained winds reflect the relentless force that a hurricane can maintain over time. This distinction is crucial for understanding the true, destructive potential of these storms. This upgrade tied Melissa with Hurricane Allen for the strongest Atlantic hurricane by wind speed. Both storms now share a place in the record books, their names forever linked by the extraordinary power they unleashed. Thanks to the hurricane hunters' courage and technology, we know just how fierce Melissa truly was. Their daring flights and cutting-edge instruments have pushed the boundaries of what we can learn about these natural giants, making it possible to warn and protect millions in the path of danger. Their work redefined our understanding of nature's fury, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming power, human ingenuity and bravery can reveal the secrets of the storm. Wind speed isn't the only measure of a hurricane's power. Central pressure is just as critical. The lower the pressure in the eye, the stronger the storm. Melissa's central pressure dropped to 892 millibars, nearly unheard of in Atlantic hurricanes. For perspective, normal sea level pressure is about 1013 millibars. This low pressure drove Melissa's catastrophic winds, creating a massive pressure gradient. Only two Atlantic hurricanes, Wilma and Gilbert, have recorded lower pressures. Melissa tied the infamous 1935 Labor Day hurricane for third lowest pressure ever. This dual achievement, record winds and record low pressure, made Melissa a rare meteorological event. It was a perfectly engineered engine of destruction. Melissa's numbers secured its place among the most intense storms in history. After peaking over the warm, open waters of the Caribbean, Hurricane Melissa set its sights on Jamaica, growing in strength and size with every passing hour. Meteorologists watched anxiously as the storm's eye tracked relentlessly toward the island, its swirling band stretching for hundreds of miles. A Category 5 storm, with sustained winds of 185 miles per hour, was heading straight for Jamaica's vulnerable western coast. The sheer power of Melissa was almost unimaginable. Gusts strong enough to uproot ancient trees, flatten buildings, and send debris flying like missiles. Across the island, residents scrambled to prepare. Families boarded up windows, reinforced doors, and gathered what supplies they could. Shelters filled quickly as people sought safety from the impending disaster. But despite their best efforts, nothing could truly brace them for what was about to unfold. When Melissa's eye wall made landfall, it unleashed its full fury. Buildings were obliterated in seconds, homes splintered into piles of wood and rubble, and entire neighborhoods were stripped bare. The landscape was transformed into a scene of utter devastation. A massive storm surge followed, flooding coastal communities and washing away roads, bridges, and anything in its path. Streets became rivers, trapping residents in their homes and cutting off entire towns from the outside world. Survivors later described the sound as a never-ending roar, like a freight train passing overhead, relentless and deafening. The wind howled through shattered buildings, rattling what little remained standing. The devastation was total. Entire neighborhoods were erased from the map. Familiar landmarks vanished, and once bustling communities were reduced to empty lots and piles of debris. While Kingston was spared the worst of the storm, western Jamaica faced a full-blown humanitarian crisis. Thousands were left homeless, and basic necessities became scarce overnight. Roads were blocked by fallen trees and debris, power and water lines were down, and many rural communities found themselves completely isolated, unable to call for help or receive aid. Emergency crews worked around the clock, rescuing survivors and distributing food, water, and medical supplies, but the scale of the disaster was overwhelming, and resources were stretched thin. The road to recovery would be long and difficult. Rebuilding homes, restoring infrastructure, and helping families heal would take years, not months. Hurricane Melissa left a permanent scar on Jamaica's land and its people. The emotional toll was as deep as the physical destruction, with families mourning lost homes and shattered lives. For the island's hardest-hit regions, the future remained uncertain. Communities faced a long, challenging road ahead, determined to rebuild but forever changed by the storm's wrath. After Jamaica, Melissa moved north toward Cuba, weakened but still dangerous. Cuba's civil defense evacuated coastal areas, but Melissa's landfall near Chivirico as a Category 3 still brought devastation. Winds up to 129 mph tore roofs from homes, downed power lines, and caused widespread blackouts. Coffee and sugarcane plantations suffered heavy losses. Torrential rains triggered flash floods and landslides, isolating rural communities. Santiago de Cuba faced significant flooding and wind damage. Thanks to Cuba's preparedness, fatalities were limited, but the economic toll was severe. Rebuilding homes, infrastructure, and agriculture would be a heavy burden. Even weakened, Melissa proved a force of immense destruction. Haiti, east of Melissa's path, escaped the worst winds but faced relentless rain. The storm's rain band stalled over Haiti's mountains, unleashing a deluge. Deforestation meant water rushed down hillsides, causing flash floods and deadly mudslides. Some areas saw over 35 inches of rain in days. Villages were inundated, homes buried, and crops destroyed. The flooding killed 43 people and left thousands homeless. Food shortages and contaminated water worsened the crisis. For Haiti, Melissa's water was deadlier than its wind. The storm's unseen toll was devastating. Melissa's true cost was measured in lives lost and communities shattered. 95 people died across the Caribbean, 45 in Jamaica, 43 in Haiti, and others elsewhere. Jamaica's agriculture was devastated, with over 1 million farm animals lost. The economic damage reached up to $52 million, crippling small island economies. Homes, businesses, and infrastructure were destroyed, setting back development for years. The storm exposed the vulnerability of the region to extreme weather. Recovery would require international support and immense resilience. Melissa's legacy is one of loss, hardship, and the long struggle to rebuild. When the winds died down, Melissa's place in history was clear. Its 190 mph winds tied the Atlantic record, matching Hurricane Allen. Its central pressure tied the 1935 Labor Day hurricane for third lowest ever. Melissa joined the ranks of legendary storms: Camille, Allen, Gilbert, Wilma. Its name will be retired, a tribute to the suffering it caused. Melissa redefined what an Atlantic hurricane could be. It was not just a Category 5, it was the ultimate hurricane. The storm's story will be studied for generations. Every hurricane teaches lessons. Melissa's were stark. Its record intensity showed the need to heed warnings and respect nature's power. The Hurricane Hunter's data will improve future forecasts and save lives. The storm highlighted the vulnerability of small island nations and the need for resilient infrastructure. Protecting natural defenses like forests and reefs is crucial. Melissa's explosive growth was fueled by unusually warm waters, a sign of a changing climate. We must prepare for stronger storms and invest in resilience. Melissa's legacy is a wake-up call for the future.